Hi guys, welcome to another video. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how to fit a set of lock adapters. Okay, so these are the lock adapters. As you can see, they're quite simple and easy to fit. So what these in essence do is it moves the track rod end from its original position, which is here, to its new position, which is here. So all this L-shaped bracket does is it bolts to the knuckle and the control arm, and it has a third hole which relocates the track rod end, and that's it. So all you literally need to do is undo the nut on the lower arm, remove the track rod end from its original position, use the nut on the control arm to bolt that part of the bracket to the knuckle. It's applied with this nut and bolt which goes through the original mounting point for the track rod end, and then you move your track rod end to this point here and bolt it up, and that's it. So once you've done that, you will realize that your track rod end and track rod are in essence now too long. So when you put it all back together again on both sides, you'll have a significant amount of toe out. So what I'll do is I'll quickly show you how to modify both the track rod end and the track rod. Okay, before you shorten the track rods, it's highly recommended that you center the steering rack, and to do this all you need to do is put the steering wheel where you think it's straight and then count how many revolutions till you get to the lock stops on the left and then on the right. Ideally, for example, if it's 2.5 that way, you want it 2.5 that way to the right as well, and that way you know that you're in the middle. Now I can go underneath the vehicle, double check both sides to make sure that I'm going to shorten them by the same distance. Okay, just as a little bit of an explanation, just to set the scene and just to describe how this all works. Obviously, if you can imagine this on the vehicle and you're facing the front of the vehicle, to tow out the wheels, you would undo this and wind it out, therefore making the length of this longer and pulling the front edge of the wheel, if you're facing the front of the car, out. And it's obviously in reverse. If you wind this in, it shortens this whole assembly and it brings the leading edge of the wheel, if you're facing the front of the car, inwards, and therefore giving you toe in. You'll notice when you fit this after doing them after fitting the lock adapter that you're going to have a reasonable amount of toe out, and that's because to get this on you're going to wind this all the way in to get it as short as possible, but even at its shortest length it's still going to be giving you toe out. So the only way to recorrect that, to give you kind of 0 degrees, is to shorten the thread to allow this track rod to go further into the rod end. So just to try and further explain that, what you'll need to do is take off approximately 20 mil off this thread and shave off about 10 mil off this rod end. So this is one of the ones that I couldn't separate because I tried to put as much heat as possible into that joint, but it weren't going to separate, so I just bought a pair, hence why I've got these as examples. So you can see there's like a reduced section of this track rod end with a slight notching in there, which is what this kind of crush washer thing goes on. So you need to chop that off, and then about 20 mil off the track rod. So what that does is it gives you obviously clearly less thread, but it allows this to go further in, and therefore shortening this whole assembly and allowing you to now wind in that toe to get you back to 0. It's worth doing your own measurements and check it a few times before you start cutting, because I noticed a few of the other track rods that I bought were kind of ever so slightly different lengths. So me saying 20 mil off that and 10 mil off that, it might be a little bit different for the one you've got in your vehicle, depending on which brand you have, whether it's OEM or some aftermarket. So measure twice, cut once. So just to recap, I have centered my steering wheel, I have centered my steering rack, I've used that central position to work out how much I need to cut off the rod and the rod end. I've made the adjustments by cutting off approximately 20 mil of the rod and 10 mil of the rod end. I've reinstalled it all. I've put it to a reasonable distance which looks relatively square. So now it's time to check the amount of toe, and to make the adjustments. So to make the adjustments, you're simply going to loosen the nut, and then you're going to go clockwise, in essence wind the rod into the rod end, and that will shorten that assembly and bring this leading edge inwards, so towards the direction of toe in. So I've put the car in the air just to give you a view of how much lock's actually achieved with these adapters, and to give you a better look at the adapters, which are just here. So in terms of how much lock you can get, I'm not sure what it is in degrees, but it's hitting against the anti-roll bar. You can just see it just here. So it's a reasonable amount of lock. When the car's actually on the floor, it doesn't hit the same point. If I show you on the chassis leg this side, you can see it's actually rubbing there. So it's obviously clearly clearing the anti-roll bar, and it's just touching there. So I guess to utilise the amount of lock, it's worth having a set of front alloys that are a low offset. So these are a ET13. I've got a 12mm spacer on there, so that brings it down to an ET1 on an 8.5 wide alloy. So again, all that's in effect doing is moving the wheel outwards to give you more ability to or more space when on full lock. And then that's the lock on this side. So yeah, that's that. Just going to quickly show you how to use the track case to measure and set the toe. So this part is the mirror, and that part is the laser. You need to place the laser in front of your driver's wheel at a distance which is set by the mirror. So you use the mirror, put it up against the side of the wheel, and then against the track case, and that gives you the distance it should be away from the wheel. Take the mirror and put it on the passenger side. Very simple. These need to be on the flat face of the wheel and touching both sides, and then you use this spirit level to level it up. That's level, and it's touching both sides. Cool. Then go back to the laser and switch it on. Back to the mirror. Now rotate this shaft until you see the reflection of that laser on the floor. There it is. So then keep it going, and basically we're trying to get this, the reflection of the laser, to go back and hit those dials. So keep spinning it. And there it is, it's on the dials. Recheck the spirit level, we're good. Still touching both sides of the wheel. Back to the laser. And as you can see, it's about 20 degrees or whatever that measurement is. So you just need to move this around a little bit just to rejiggle it to get to 0. There we go, you can see, oh no, moved it again. It's quite sensitive. You can see it's at 0. So now the passenger side set at 0, and as a reference, so we grab our mirror and put it on the driver's side wheel. Check our spirit level, and then rotate the mirror around. And we should see that laser come down and hit the dials. There we go. So at the moment we're towing out. So the leading edge of the wheel is towing out, so we need to bring the toe out and center it. So the track rods need to be shortened, and thereby pulling the wheel in and straightening it up. With low cars, it's always difficult to get to it when it's on the ground. So I'm just going to take the front bumper off, and that will give me the access I need. So just give me a second. Bumper's off. So what I need for this is a 22mm and a 14mm. Use a 22mm to loosen the retaining nut. Then wind it off a little. Then use your 14 on the track rod to go clockwise to, in essence, wind it in. And then watch the gauge. So looking at the gauge, we're about 1.5 degrees toe, just over 1.5 degrees toe out. Right, and there we have it. I'm getting away the laser, but as you can see, it's on the 0 position. Right, that's it for the tracking. Now moving on to camber adjustment. So to adjust the camber, all you need to do is undo these 4 bolts, loosen them, not taking them out altogether, and then you can slide this plate which is underneath here backwards and forwards to adjust the camber, and it's as simple as that. So I'm running about 3 degrees on the front. So I'll take my camber gauge and make sure the spirit level is okay. You can see it's just about 3 degrees. And on the rear, I fitted adjustable rear arms. So at the moment, I think they're the same length as the standard arms. So let's see how much camber we've got at the back. I'm just using this 30mm socket just to get a flat point on which to reference. There we go. So again, just line up with the spirit level, and we're about 1.5 degrees negative camber. To adjust the camber, you need to turn this part of the arm, so clockwise shortens it and pulls the bottom part in and the top part of the wheel out. So all I need to do is wind this in the clockwise direction. Okay, let's check it again. Just adjust the spirit level and 0 degrees. Right, that's it for this video. So we have gone through how to fit the lock adapters and how to shorten the track rods. We've also checked the alignment and adjusted the front alignment using the track ace. We then moved on to checking the front and rear camber with the Gunson camber gauge. So we set the front camber to 3 degrees and the rear camber to 0 degrees, just to minimise tyre wear across those rear tyres. So as always, thanks for watching. Hope this has been some use. Feel free to subscribe, and I will hopefully see you on the next one. Cheers, bye.